Hello, Sally.
Hi, Dominique.
How are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
Pretty good. It's sunny out, so that always makes up for a good day. Um, how have you been this week?
Um, all right. I don't think I've made much progress on anything.
Tell me more about that. Why don't you feel like you've made much progress?
Because I haven't, um, nothing's really changed. I did try to speak up in a meeting, but it did not go well. So, that was not great.
What happened?
Um, I just got nervous as I started speaking and stumbled over my words and got really red, and I could tell that I was, and it just made me feel even more nervous. And I felt like I just kind of spiraled and um yeah.
Tell me more about feeling nervous. Like, what were there certain thoughts that came up in the moment as this was all happening?
Just that I knew what I wanted to say, and I just like as soon as I started talking, though, I could feel myself starting to get red, and then I started to notice that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually talking in front of people, and I just got self-conscious, and then it was like, oh shoot, this isn't going well.
What do you think caused you to get self-conscious? Was it just the people, or what do you think?
I don't know, that's just how I am all the time.
Yeah, that can be or that doesn't sound very comfortable to be in a that state like often or even consistently. That just a state of like feeling self-conscious and I don't know if the
Knowing that there are eyes on me, and everybody's listening to me. Just, yeah.
let's talk more about that moment. So what were you and if you can't share like specifics, I definitely understand because it is a work environment, but were you trying to talk about a specific task or um what
It was just
message?
a process issue that was going on, and I felt like I had something to contribute, and a unique perspective on it. And I thought like I said, I felt like I was confident in what I had to, like the content of what I wanted to say. I just wasn't confident in actually saying it. And that made me look like an idiot, like I didn't know what I was talking about, even though I really did. So
Mhm. Yeah, and I think like wording is very very powerful and it can like really color a situation. So um it's like I whenever like idiot or something like that, like those words, those type of like negative words come up, I like to, point them out and explore just where they come from because a lot of times they're founded on like just like either something called like black and white thinking where it's like either it went all bad or all good or just like they're not really founded well when those types of like negative beliefs about oneself come up. So I always like to just point them out and examine them. So when you said like uh you felt like an idiot or you believed you were an idiot, um what evidence do you have that that is true? Like are
I don't
there
think I said that. I think I felt like I looked like an idiot.
okay, you looked like an idiot. Um Do you have like evidence that supports that?
Well, like I said, I felt like I came off flustered and just I didn't look like I know I didn't look like I was confident in what I said. Like somebody asked if I was okay, and like I felt like I wasn't efficient in getting my point across. So
And do you have evidence that like refutes that in any type of way? Um, that whole
I
looking
don't
um like that would dispute that belief or that thought. Like, has there been a continual um impacts of like this moment at the office? Like, have people continuously asked you or if you're okay? Has anyone treated you as though you are incompetent? Um, has your boss questioned you or anything like that?
know, but no, I didn't. I haven't felt comfortable speaking up since then. So, and
Yeah.
that's what I've been trying to do.
Yeah, and I think that's normal. And I also wanted to ask, like, is this the first time you've tried like anything like this?
In this position. Yeah.
Um, and I don't know if you've tried like a lot of new things, but sometimes, or even oftentimes, like when you try something new, it doesn't always go as planned. I don't know if you had like at least like in my experience when I've tried something new, it doesn't always go as um I would have planned or have liked it to go. Because it's a new thing, it's a new skill that I'm trying to exercise. I don't know if you've had that experience.
Well, this did not go well. Yeah.
Have you
Uh,
experienced that before when you've tried something new?
I don't know. I haven't really. I don't think I try a lot of new things, so I don't know.
Yeah, and that like compounding like you don't really have like a lot of experience trying something new, and this is a brand new experience. So a lot of newness to go around. Um, so I want to kind of like normalize that when you don't have experience doing something or it's brand new, it doesn't always go as planned usually. Um, but it doesn't that doesn't have to make it 100% negative experience. Because there are things that can be learned from any experience, I think. Um, so if you had to think about what you learned from this experience, what do you think you could come up with?
That I'm not good at this. That I am for sure not great at speaking up in front of people.
Mhm. What else? Mm.
Um, I don't know, but I'm nothing good.
I wanna challenge that a little bit though, and challenge you to think about something good that you can take from this entire experience, if you had to, like, and we can take as long as you like to find something good that you can take from this. Because I find that like if you take only negatives from an experience, you're not likely to try it again, and that in my view sets you back from your goal of getting out there more, because that's what we've been working on for these past few sessions and working up to, and that's at least at the start of when we first began this journey together, that was your main goal, was to speak out more, and specifically at work, um, and engage more with coworkers and your boss, and open yourself up more and maybe get connected with more promotions and things like that. That seemed to be like your main goal. So I don't want to like have this experience just negate like any progress that you've made or any work that you've been doing just because this particular experience um didn't go as planned because that's a lot of weight to put on this one experience.
Yeah, but it didn't go well.
I know, I know. And it's like let's take it out of like this particular experience. What about like when you first started baking? Because I think you're probably like a pro now. You're probably like, I don't know who the great bakers are. Paula Dean, I don't know. But but when you first like the first time you baked something, did it like do you remember the first thing you baked?
Yeah, it was cupcakes, and that's kind of still what I like to do. But I mean, I followed a recipe. It wasn't there wasn't any, I don't know, I just followed a recipe and it came out okay. So,
Let's think of a time. Have you ever baked something that didn't turn out well? Like you're like, this is not how I wanted it to turn out.
I don't know that I've ever had like any disasters. I mean, I may have left stuff in the oven too long a couple times, got a little dry or a little, or sometimes underbaked a little bit. They that's just me, I'm not trying to I'm not doing that in front of people. It's not like, pressure to get it right. So,
Yeah, I hear that. Definitely having an audience adds a layer to things. But even so, in those moments, because I imagine like you baked after those moments for like family and stuff. After like something came out like under baked, or I don't know if I'm using the correct terminology, or dry. Um, so in those moments you didn't tell yourself like I'm not gonna bake again. Like this didn't turn out well, or I'm not gonna I imagine there's dishes that like you made once or you baked once that came out dry or that came out like didn't sit for long enough or something like that, and then you made it again and it
yeah,
turned out.
but that's not with like major disaster. Like I know I'm not a great cook, and so I don't do that, like I stick with baking because that's easier for me. So,
And it's something you wanted to become proficient at. I'm like, at least from what I've gauged so far, like you've done it, you've continued to do it. And I think that like with any skill, practice. I don't like the saying practice makes perfect because I don't think like things will be 100% perfect, but you have to practice, and baking is something that you've practiced, it seems like a lot. And this new skill of talking in front of people and asserting yourself and just like um connecting with others and getting your point across. This is a new skill that we discussed earlier that you want to have. Like it's one of your main goals in coming to therapy is to strengthen that. So it's like, but it has to be practiced. Um, and probably practice a few times. And not to say like even after you have practiced it 100 times, it's gonna go perfect after that. Because there's gonna be times after you've practiced it several times where it doesn't go well. Or you get flustered or you get anxious or um
yeah, like I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna ever practice it when I just get flustered every time.
mm,
I don't know. I'm worried that that's just gonna feel discouraging.
mm, I hear that. Um there's concern about just like this being a consistent experience, and um yeah, I can definitely see where that fear could stem from. Um,
I always have those nerves, whether or not I speak up. Like that's what keeps me from speaking up in the first place. And then, actually trying it and then it not going well, that just
mhm,
felt like, oh, like I'm really not cut out for this.
yeah, I definitely hear that. I just want to challenge like some of that thinking because um it it doesn't this one like there's a lot of weight being put on this one experience, and I get that it's your first experience doing this. But also like also it's your first experience doing this. So it's likely not gonna go perfectly, and that's okay. Um you also put yourself out there. You also um volunteered, it seems like, to talk about a subject in front of people that you're still trying to develop relationships with and connections. So I want to like look at the situation from all sides. Like there are some things that maybe we wanted to go, or we would appreciate it if they had went better. Also, there are things that we can learn from this experience, and also there like there are triumphs. Like you put yourself out there, you said some things, like you tried. Um like there's a quote that my grandfather used to always say, it's like nothing beats a failure but a try. So it's like can the situation be a complete failure if you try?
Yeah. I I guess I understand what you're saying, but it feels like a failure when you've tried and it didn't go well.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely hear that. It's the first try. Um hopefully we get, and I understand if you're not there right now, but hopefully we work ourselves back up to getting in the mode where we want to try again. Because I guess like we said at the beginning, it's not something that this is not something that's going to be tackled in a day or a few days. This has been, it seems like a maybe not, maybe lifelong is too big of a phrase, but a long-standing issue that has been present in your life. So it's not going to go away within like a few days, weeks, months. Um it's probably something that you're going to have to continue to practice to get better at.
Yeah.
Um and that's with any skill. Like even baking.
Well, baking isn't, I don't see it as a skill. I don't do it for proficiency. I just do it out of enjoyment. So I don't know. This feels different and wanting to practice something, um, where I feel like there's actual risk involved is a bit harder.
Uh is there risk in baking?
No, not when you're just doing it for yourself. Like if it doesn't go well, I can just toss it. Big deal. I'm not
But
on a competition, but
if you like if you take something out too soon, or like uh granted the risk, like there's varying levels, but like if you eat something that's undercooked, like you could risk getting sick. You could risk like I don't know, having a like if you eat something really dry, having a nasty taste in your mouth. Like granted the risk is small, but there's still elements of risk.
I think it's more the judgment of
Yeah.
others.
Yeah, I hear that. And like I said before, like having having an audience like adds a certain
Yeah.
adds a level to things. Also I think there's value in just trying it again. But I understand, I totally understand if you're if you're not there yet. Um this is a brand new experience. There are a lot of things that we wished were different that didn't go well. So kind of sort of like you took a big step. I don't like I also don't want to minimize that. Like you took a big risk, uh a big step to try this new skill and to try to exercise it. And that takes confidence. It takes, I don't know, tenacity. I don't know if that's the word I want, but um it takes some effort, and I don't want to minimize that. Um because I think that's a positive to take from it, that you tried it. What do you
Exactly.
think?
Yeah, I guess. Um, kind of.
Mhm.
Yeah. Don't know that I want to try again anytime soon.
It's so totally understandable. Um, you know, we won't it's not something that like we'll be proficient at in a day or two. It's something and take a moment to continue to process like this moment. And process it here, process it like with family, friends, whoever you feel comfortable with, or if you just need time along with like your own thoughts, like do whatever sorts of self-care work for you. But also like I hope that um there's some thought of like how what you could learn from this experience. Because I think there's things to learn, even if like they're not as readily identifiable right now. I think there are things that you can learn from this experience, things that went well and things that didn't go as well, and how to change that or how to alter that so you feel more comfortable in the future. Because despite this experience not going well, I think it's worth trying again. But I also understand that like realistically, you're just not there right now. And that's totally okay. It's matter of fact, it's normal. I think. So it's not something I'm gonna like push you to, okay, I don't know, talk about the Pythagorean theorem tomorrow at work. It's not like I'm not gonna task you with that. But we can do this at your pace. Um, I just, if I could, like, put in moments within this whole experience to challenge you on just some of that thinking, especially the more negative thinking about self or about like about abilities, um, to challenge that, because I don't know that this entire situation means that you're not good at this.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I wish that I knew ways to cope with that, with the anxiety before I try again, because I don't, I just worry that it'll be like a negative um, feedback loop of, this, I just keep having the same experience over and over again. So I don't really want to put myself out there knowing that I'm going to freeze up again. Um, because I it's just that I know that I've learned that that's my natural response, and I don't know. I guess I was just hoping that I could learn how to be more um, confident or comfortable in speaking, before I keep failing at it.
Mhm. What helps you feel confident?
Mm, knowing people like that I'm speaking to, and
Mm.
if it's fewer people, like that helps me feel more confident, but that's not really an option when you're in a professional setting and, you know, you're in a conference room full of people. Like my options are to speak up or not. So,
Um, and I get that like controlling the environment's not really an option, but what about the getting to know the people that you're going to be speaking to? Is that an option?
I feel like that for me, that tends to come like over time, like at previous jobs, like when I had been there for, a year or more, and I just, was more comfortable with everybody. I don't know. I always, though, still had issues speaking up. So it was never like quite comfortable.
Mhm.
It gets a little better after, but I'd prefer not to have to wait that long for this to get better. I'm trying to like make strides and grow. And I feel like I don't want to just, like I said, it even after being more comfortable with the people, it's still an issue. So,
Mm.
yeah,
Can things not go 100% perfectly and it still be a growth opportunity?
sure.
Mm. So can this still be a growth opportunity?
I don't know. This was more than 100% not perfect. It was, yeah, I mean, uh, this was pretty disastrous. I felt like,
Mm.
so I don't know.
Mm. In
I
what
mean,
ways? No, not. I didn't mean to stop it there, but in what ways could you grow from this though?
I don't know. I was hoping that's what you'd help me with.
I'm trying to, but I also don't want to dominate the conversation or like just tell you everything that I think. I kind of want to, because we're a collaborative team, so I want to make sure I'm making space for your thoughts as well. But um I think that like growth could be recognizing like, okay, when I'm thinking this way and it makes me more anxious. Like when I'm having these sorts of thoughts of like how everyone's looking at me, how everyone's judging me. And this is just examples. I'm not saying you were thinking this at the time. How everyone's going to judge me, how people think I look like an idiot. When I have these sorts of thoughts, or when I allow myself to go down this train of thought, like I get more anxious and more flustered. So I'm going to try to think more positively in the future. That's a growth like that I'm going to do. Um, that's a growth opportunity and something different that I'm going to try. Um, So that's just one example of how like this situation can be seen as like a growth opportunity, something that pushes you to grow, and to operate differently and think differently and um just do better in the future. And that comes with practice, which means uh you'll have to, I mean, you don't have to do anything, but um it'll be helpful to try it again in the future. And I want to also like go back to something you said earlier where you're like I don't something about like I don't want to wait that long or something like that for to get better at this or something like that. I can't remember verbatim, but I think that like um it just goes back to what we've talked about like since the first session about like this being a process and sometimes like smaller baby steps and sometimes the steps are bigger and sometimes we go back a step and those are those I think are the most growth opportunities because it's like oh if we step back or if we miss a step let's look around and see what caused us to miss that step, what sorts of things were helpful, what sorts of things were unhelpful. So I think that those are the biggest like moments of that we can look at and grow from. If we look at what didn't go well. Um, what are your thoughts?
Mm, I don't know. I don't know that I totally agree with that. I understand what you're saying, but I don't know.
Mm,
Um, I, I yeah, I don't know.
yeah. And it also wants to give you some space to fully process this moment because I don't want to bypass the effects of it. Um, so not trying to rush you to, I don't know, get back on the bike, and try again in the near future, but, um, and I also want to normalize that, like, these types of experiences, color your perception of, uh, just like striving for this goal at all. But I also want to normalize that you did. I mean, I also want to point out that you did try, and that seems like a big accomplishment for you. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like trying something new, because you said
Yeah.
you don't have a lot of experience doing that. So I don't want to bypass that accomplishment.
Yeah, I guess.
How do you feel about just the act of trying something new? Because you said you hadn't done it a lot in the past. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I was right. It wasn't comfortable.
Yeah. I think this whole goal that you're striving for is gonna push you out of your comfort zone. So I want to be realistic about that. I think it's gonna push you to do what's uncomfortable. Um, but uncomfortable doesn't always have to mean something negative. It doesn't always have to have that negative connotation. Just because it's uncomfortable doesn't always mean it's bad or it's negative. Um, so I want to kind of check in with our feelings. How are you feeling in this moment right now?
A little frustrated, feeling like, I haven't made a lot of progress.
Hmm.
Yeah, not great.
Definitely understandable. Um, in those moments where you're really frustrated, what helps you as far as like self care and things like that? What sorts of things help?
The usual, curling up with a good book and maybe baking a bit. So,
Do you have space for that this week?
yeah.
Oh, maybe worth taking some time. I know as we mentioned, I think in the last session, I have a, I don't know if it's unhealthy yet, but I have a little bit of an obsession with the greatest Bake Off or British Bake Off show. It brings me some sort of comfort. Um, so I try to make space for that when I'm feeling really stressed or frustrated. So um, maybe that could be a task for you this week to make it a point to make some space to, I don't know, catch up on your reading um,
Yeah, I definitely will.
or to like bake something. And also I want to add a small task for you to identify just one thing from this experience that went well and that will help you um, when you try again in the future. And take as long as you need to think about it. If we get to next week, if you're still open to coming back, and you're not able to express it, then it doesn't have to be next week. Just something positive to take with you from this experience, because I get that like it was intense. It sounds like it was intense. So, but also I don't want to completely look at it as a negative, because like I said, like you're less likely to want to try again. And it seems like this is an important goal to you. So, I want to look for pockets of encouragement, if we could. So, that's just the one, I guess, thing that I would invite you to see if you can find a nugget of positivity. 'Cause, 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 But I hope today was helpful in helping you process, just what happened, and we can continue to process if need be. Um, but did you gain anything helpful out of today?
I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah, that's understandable. Um, but would you like to schedule again, or do you need to take some time? It's definitely up to you.
I'll schedule again.
Okay. Um, so let's see, does the same time and day work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll get you scheduled here. It'll take a couple seconds to get in there, get locked in. Um, is before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to share or want to say before we end?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I hope you take some time, like we said, to take care of yourself and do some things that lower anxiety, lower frustration, and hopefully we can grow and learn.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. See you next week.
All right. See you then.